So with only about 2 days left until it's time to vote in the election, unless you're one of the 7.3 million people who did early voting, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about, and I think they kind of go hand in hand with each other, and I think it's pretty important to this election. I wanted to talk about Mark Carney's budget, the fact that on top of what was already planned to be spent, he wants to spend another $130 billion for a total of $225 billion, which is going to do extreme damage to the economy. If you remember, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but if you remember exactly what happened during COVID, with massive inflation, with all the extra money that had been spent, we were just printing money like it was nothing, and it was causing massive inflation around 6 to 8%. Everybody felt it. The price of everything just skyrocketed: food, rent, houses, basically everything. Everyone remembers the price of toilet paper, or the scarcity of it at least. We can't afford to add this extra $130 billion to the debt. Not that we can afford to add much more to the debt in general, but no party's about to balance the budget, unfortunately. The Conservatives probably have the best approach to it, but they're certainly not going to balance the budget in the near future. They have about a 5-year plan to hopefully balance the budget. I believe they could do it, especially if they unlock the economy like Pierre wants to. But first, Pierre has to win to even make that a possibility. The second thing I want to talk about is the Privy report, but we'll get to that in a few minutes here. Now, Mark Carney might not quite be the economist that he claims to be, and I believe this new budget certainly shows it, and so does his actions and what he expressed during COVID. He said that the money they were printing during COVID he didn't believe was going to cause inflation, and he said it certainly wouldn't cause mass inflation, and we've seen exactly what happened. Inflation was outrageous. It was through the roof. Everyone was having problems affording things. He was re-questioned afterwards, after the inflation did in fact happen, and he said, "I don't think the inflation is actually a bad thing. I think it's good to help the economy move," which is an absolutely ridiculous statement. Anyone who has concern for their own money, if you had savings, the only thing inflation is good for is equity in things that you already own, like stocks, your house. They'll go up. But aside from that, the cost of living goes way through the roof. People weren't getting raises to compensate with this. The state of the economy was falling. People had a lot less money to spend, causing the economy just to keep going down and down, which it has been over the last 10 years in general, but even a lot worse since COVID. We've become the slowest growing nation in the G7, and we're actually pretty close to the edge of losing our spot in the G7. I believe it's Spain or Italy's right on our tail, so they could take us over potentially in probably maybe 3 to 5 years if things go terribly wrong for us, which we could be certainly on the path. And on that note, let's talk about the Privy report, which is the economic outlook on Canada's future, which is written basically by the PM's office themselves. So it's basically Mark Carney's office that is the one responsible for giving this report, and it's the outlook on the economy and society in the future between the next about 10 to 15 years, if we stay on the path we're going, if we keep the policies we have in place. And this report was done even before Mark Carney had put out his platform, which is actually going to accelerate exactly what they said in this report, and it's going to make things a lot worse. So this report may actually be a slight understatement, but we're headed well in this direction regardless of what happens, unless things change, which will not happen under this Liberal government. And I'd just like to point out the fact that there's almost no news coverage at all on this. The mainstream media is trying to keep it down, and this is why you cannot get your news from the mainstream media, and they cannot be trusted. Mainstream media, they're not out there for you. They're getting extraordinarily high amounts of money from the government, especially CBC. They're getting $1.5 billion or just shy of, and they're going to get about $115 million increase if Mark Carney wins, where if Pierre wins, he's going to defund CBC and all other forms of media, which I think for the most part is a good thing. You may have a few downfalls, but they're not reporting reliable news. They're doing quite a horrible job. This report, it suggests that there's going to be societal breakdown. There's going to be a bigger gap between the lower class and the upper class, or even the middle class, which is probably just basically going to be eliminated in general. People are going to be quite poor in this country. The social systems are going to need a lot more money. There's going to have to be more Social Security, which I don't know how we're going to even potentially afford. Say by the year 2040, college and university will not even be a path to help you earn more money. It's basically just going to be a status symbol. I mean, college and university is already starting to get that way. There's not a lot of things that are worth actually going to college or university for. Obviously, if you're going to be something in the medical field and maybe engineering, it's worth going to college or university for, but that's about the extent to it. It's just getting more and more useless and more expensive by the year. The Privy report, it's saying that a lot of young people, or a majority of young people, a fair amount, is going to leave this country. They're going to emigrate to countries that are more prosperous, that they have a chance that they can actually increase the quality of life. They're saying that all hope will be gone in Canada to, or almost all hope will be gone in Canada to increase your quality of life, to gain social status, to have a better life for yourself and your family. You're going to have a worse life than your parents did, and until the things get fixed, it's just going to keep going down that way. So this was a very damning report, and I think anyone who's actually knows what this report says is going to have a really hard time even thinking about voting for the Liberals. It's basically the reason that we're in this mess is because of them, and things are just going to continue going down the wrong path if we elect Mark Carney. So you're going to have to make that decision yourself in about 2 days if you haven't already. I know who I'm going to be voting for, but I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But I think you should take this budget. You should take the Privy report, and the fact of, do you think things have gotten better in the last 10 years, or do you think things have gotten worse in the last 10 years? And that's a decision you're going to have to make for yourself. We already have the biggest increase in price in food in the G7. We also have doubled housing costs in the last 10 years. I've seen rents double. People cannot afford to live here. So here's a fun fact about the report. They're actually saying food's going to be so expensive that people are going to fish, hunt, and gather on public land and waterways. Yet the only problem with that is they're trying to take away everybody's guns, because apparently hunting is too dangerous for everybody. So let me know what you think, and as always, stay curious, my friends.